Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to make a kind of peculiar dish, but it's good, I promise. And it's really good for fall because it has a lot of apples. For this dish, you're going to need light brown sugar, some apple juice, some apples, vanilla extract, preferably not imitation, but I'm working on a budget, cinnamon, garlic, oregano, minced onion, and basil, a mixing bowl, pork chops, a cutting board, a crock pot, preferably pork stuffing, but I'm working on a budget yet again, so I have chicken and mashed potatoes. Now you can also make real mashed potatoes, but I ain't got time for that, nor the patience. You're also obviously going to want butter and milk for your mashed potatoes and butter for your stuffing. Didn't get that out. I had to go buy 90% of this because I don't keep food at my house. So you can feed a couple of 2 or a family of 4, depending on how big your appetites are, and it will run you $30 about worst case scenario, biggest cost being pork, or if you have a lot of the stuff at home, it could cost you little to nothing. It's not going to be a whole lot of prep time, but a whole lot of waiting for the crock pot to finish. Put your pork into your crock pot. Now this is going to feed us for 2 days because we're each going to have one because it's going to make a decent amount of food. Put a cup of apple juice in there to help give it moisture. You're going to want about 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. There's going to be more brown sugar to come, but we're going to put it in with the pork chops for now. And just a touch of minced onion. If you're lucky enough to have one of these bad boys, you're going to want to do maybe 4 apples. It depends on how many apples you want, actually. You can decide at the end of this. But right now I'm going to try to do 4 apples, and we'll see if we need more. We may need more, to be honest. I might do 5 or 6. Okay, who would have thought? That's 4 apples, and that's going to be enough. A lot of people want to do both green and red. I chose Gala because, again, budget. But a lot of people do green and red. So this one is fine. It looks weird, but see, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Anyway, so that's 4 apples to give you some idea. Right now, by the way, you want to have your pork chops on high. We're going to cook all of this for 4 hours, but you want to have the pork chops in for about a half hour to maybe even an hour, depending on how done you want your apples. Because the apples need about 3 hours on high, and the pork chops need about 4 hours on high. So we're prepping all the apples right now. We're actually going to try to cook the apples a little bit sooner because some of these apples are pretty big. And I also thought I didn't have an apple core, so I thought I was going to spend the next half an hour cutting apples, and I had an apple core. So we're going to put them in a little early, and I just hope that they don't get too mushy. Basically what we're going for is fried apples in a crock pot. Just for visual purposes, 4 apples, a cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of cinnamon, and a half a stick of butter. This will all mix up in the crock pot, obviously, but this is just a representation of what will look like. You're going to put them in the crock pot, and then you're going to add another half cup of apple juice. So there's going to be a decent amount of apple juice in there. So now we're going to let this cook for 4 hours on high, which right now it's actually going to be about 3.5 hours-ish. So about 3.5 hours. Now we're going to make the stuffing. And you need these spices here and a pot with a cover. Here's the water and the butter. Now, what I'm about to show you, you're going to get very concerned over. Just go with it. Yes, your water should look like this. It's about 3/4 to a teaspoon of oregano and basil, about half a teaspoon of garlic, and a teaspoon of minced onion. Yes, your water should look like swamp water. Usually I even put a little bit more in this. Yes, this is going to give the box stuffing a lot more taste, trust me. Your mashed potato mixture, whatever you decide to make for your mashed potatoes, or if you're making them by the box, I'm making 6 servings, and I put a half a cup of the juice that's in with the pork and the apples. This will flavor the mashed potatoes. It looks disgusting, that's okay. Just trust me. You can put more or less or none if you choose, but you add this to the mashed potatoes to give them some more flavor. And you can also take the juice from the crock pot and put it over the potatoes. You can also put it in a pan and thicken it with cornstarch to make it into a gravy. And you can also put cornstarch in the leftover apples to thicken them if you want, because they do not come out super thick. I'll show you those real quick. Now I told y'all in the beginning that you're gonna want to wait an hour to put them in to where they only cook for 3 hours. I put them in at 3.5. I had to pull them out early. But if you want this to be thicker, you can add some cornstarch to make it more of like a Cracker Barrel type substance. But yeah, only leave them in 3, maybe 3.5 hours tops. I would even go with 3. So I'd put in the pork for an hour and then put the apples in to where they only are at 3 hours, because I had to pull them out early because they started getting scary. And actually I ended up panicking and putting new ones in here because I panicked, which these are okay too. So, but as you can see, that's very watery. You can use it, like I said, you can put cornstarch in it, make it into a gravy, or just leave it kind of liquidy and put it on your potatoes, whatever you want to do. A lot of people would thicken it. I don't, so. And here's the final product. Mashed potatoes with the juice over them, the pork chops, the stuffing, the apples, bread if you put butter, pepper, and garlic and put them in a toaster or a toaster oven.
400 for just a couple minutes.
And some apple juice to go with it. There's his. And here's mine. There you go. That's how you make this meal.